Hello, dear Homypedia family. What if a tiny home could feel cooler, calmer, and more generous, not because it is large or expensive, but because one quiet courtyard at the center allows the whole home to breathe? Today we're stepping into a tiny hacienda where shade, terracotta, lime-washed walls, plants, water, and soft archways work together like an old memory. Nothing here feels forced, nothing feels loud, and yet, as we move from the sunlit exterior into the shaded heart of the home, we begin to understand something many older houses knew very well. Comfort is not only about square footage. Comfort is about rhythm, air, light, and the way a home protects us from the heat of the day. At first glance, this tiny hacienda may look simple. A low roofline, warm walls, a wooden door, and perhaps a clay pot near the entrance. But the secret is hidden just beyond the threshold. Inside, the courtyard is not decoration. It is the quiet engine of the whole home. It gathers the breeze, filters the sunlight, cools the surrounding rooms, and gives every corner a view of something living. That is what makes this small home feel so peaceful. It does not try to impress us with size. It invites us to slow down. It lets the morning light arrive gently. It gives the afternoon heat somewhere to soften. It allows the evening air to move through the rooms with a grace that feels almost forgotten in modern houses. So stay with me, because by the end of this tour, you will see why a tiny hacienda courtyard can do more than make a home beautiful. It can make the whole home feel naturally cooler, calmer, and quietly luxurious. We begin outside, where the hacienda shows its first lesson in restraint. The walls are softened with lime wash, a surface that catches the sun but without reflecting it sharply back into the eyes. A flat modern wall can feel hot and blank, but a lime-washed wall has depth. It holds tiny shadows, changes gently from morning to evening, and helps the home stay visually cool before we even step inside. The roof extends just enough to create shade near the entrance. This is one of the oldest and simplest forms of comfort, not fighting the sun, but meeting it with patience. A shaded doorway gives the body a moment to adjust. It also tells us that this home understands climate. It is not sealed away from nature, it is in conversation with it. Then the door opens, and here is the heart of the tiny hacienda, a small courtyard, open to the sky, held gently by walls, arches, plants, and shade. This is where the home becomes more than a compact structure. It becomes a place with a center. In many modern small homes, rooms are arranged like boxes connected by narrow passages. But in this hacienda, the courtyard gives every room a relationship to light and air. Instead of feeling compressed, the home feels anchored. The eye has somewhere to rest. The body has somewhere to breathe. Even if the footprint is modest, the experience feels much larger because the home borrows space from the sky. This is the first cooling secret. A courtyard creates a pocket of air. When the sun moves across the day, parts of the courtyard remain shaded, especially under arches, pergolas, or climbing vines. That shaded air becomes cooler than the exposed street or open yard. When windows and doors open toward this shaded pocket, the surrounding rooms can draw in softer air instead of direct heat. Look at the floor. Terracotta is not only beautiful because of its color, it carries a grounded feeling. Its warm clay tone makes the courtyard feel human and old world, but its surface can remain more forgiving underfoot than glossy stone in a hot climate. When paired with shade, plants, and a little water, terracotta helps create the feeling of a cool outdoor room rather than a hard, exposed patio.
The second cooling secret is shade, layered in different ways. Not one heavy block of darkness, but a series of soft filters. A wooden beam casts a line across the wall. A pergola breaks the sunlight into narrow strips. A vine softens the roof edge. A potted olive tree creates a moving shadow on the floor. These layers make the courtyard feel alive. They also reduce glare, and glare is one of the reasons a small home can feel hotter and more tiring than it really is. This is why the courtyard does not need to be large, it only needs to be intentional. Even a small square of open sky can change the emotional temperature of a home if it is surrounded by the right materials. A bench in the shade, a clay jar near the wall, a small fountain placed where the sound can travel gently into the rooms. These details do not shout, but they create a sense of refuge. Now we step into the living area. It is modest, but it does not feel trapped. One side opens toward the courtyard, so the room receives borrowed light. A courtyard view is private. It lets the room feel open without feeling exposed. You can sit with a book, hear leaves moving, see the light change, and still feel protected. The third cooling secret is cross breeze. Notice how the openings are placed. A doorway to the courtyard on one side, perhaps a smaller high window on the opposite side. When air can enter low and leave high, or move from shaded courtyard to another shaded exit, the house begins to breathe naturally. This does not mean air conditioning is never needed in every climate, but it does mean the home is not helpless without it. Its shape is already helping. The archways are important here. They are beautiful, of course, but they also frame movement. In a small home, a straight rectangular opening can feel abrupt. An arch feels slower. It suggests transition from living room to courtyard, from kitchen to garden, from hot daylight to cooler shade. The architecture gently tells your body, you may slow down now. Now we enter the kitchen. It is not trying to be a large showroom kitchen. It is intimate. A small plaster hood, handmade tile, open wooden shelves, perhaps a stone counter, and a view back into the courtyard. This is the kind of kitchen that makes morning coffee feel like a ritual. A tiny kitchen can feel cramped when it has no view, but when it opens toward a courtyard, it becomes part of a larger living pattern. Preparing food, tending herbs, watering plants, and sitting outside for breakfast all become connected. The courtyard is not separate from the home. It is the room that belongs to every room. Here, the design uses herbs and clay pots, not just as decoration, but as life. Rosemary, basil, lavender,
or a small citrus tree can bring scent into the courtyard. Scent creates memory. It makes a small place feel richer. And when the air moves through plants before entering the rooms, the experience feels softer and fresher. The fourth cooling secret is water, used quietly. Not a large pool, not an expensive feature, but perhaps a small wall fountain, a basin, or a simple jar where water catches the light. Water changes the mood of a courtyard. The sound masks outside noise. The reflection adds brightness without harshness. And psychologically, water makes us feel refreshed even before we touch it. The bedroom is small, but it feels restful because it does not carry too many functions. The bed is placed where it can receive indirect light, not harsh sun. The textiles are breathable: cotton, linen, perhaps a light woven throw. The color palette stays close to nature: warm white, clay, olive green, sand, and aged wood. These colors lower the visual temperature of the room. A small window or door toward the courtyard gives the bedroom a sense of companionship. Even when the room is quiet, it does not feel isolated. There is life nearby: a plant moving slightly, a shadow on the wall, a bird passing overhead. This is one of the emotional gifts of courtyard living. The home feels private, but never lonely. As we return to the courtyard, the whole plan begins to make sense. The home is organized around a breathing space. Every room borrows from the courtyard: light for the living room, air for the bedroom, fragrance for the kitchen, shade for the afternoon, and beauty for the everyday. By late afternoon, the courtyard changes again. The sun moves lower. The terracotta deepens in color. The lime-washed walls become warmer. Shadows stretch across the floor. A lantern may glow near the archway. And suddenly, this tiny home feels less like a compact building and more like a private retreat. So, when we ask why this tiny hacienda feels so cool and calm, the answer is not one object or one expensive feature. It is the way everything works together. The shaded entrance prepares the body. The lime-washed walls soften the sun. The terracotta floor grounds the courtyard. The plants filter the light. The water brings a quiet sound. The arches slow the movement, and the rooms open toward the center, so the entire home feels connected to one peaceful breath. This is what a small home can teach us. A house does not need to be large to feel generous. It does not need to be perfect to feel beautiful. And it does not need to be filled with technology to understand comfort. Sometimes the most powerful design choice is simply creating a protected place where air, light, and life can gather. If you dream of a home that feels cooler, calmer, and more human, perhaps the lesson is not to add more. Perhaps it is to create a center, a small courtyard, a shaded corner, a few honest materials, a place where the morning begins gently and the evening ends with warmth. And maybe that is why this tiny hacienda stays with us. It reminds us that peace is not always found in distance or size. Sometimes it is found in the quiet space just inside the door, where the walls hold the shade, the plants move in the breeze, and the whole home seems to exhale. If this peaceful, tiny hacienda gave you one idea for your own home, please give this video a like, subscribe to Homypedia, and tell us in the comments, would you choose a courtyard for cooling, privacy, or pure calm? Your answer may inspire our next slow home tour. Thank you for walking with us today.